I look really white.
Yes, well, you are white, according to the trolls out there.
By the way, for everyone out there throwing the white privilege card at us, soy de Costa Rica, hablo español, soy latina, y sí, la diversidad existe.
I'm just a white guy.
You're my white guy.
Well, thank you, my love. And I'm straight, too, which, like, puts me down 2 pegs already. I'm, like, down 2 notches.
Yeah, Brian's not allowed to talk about anything.
There's many things
in
I'm
America
not allowed
now.
to talk about. I think superhero movies, that might be it. That might be the only thing I'm allowed to talk about is superhero movies, right? Well, I am allowed to just agree with what everyone else says, though. That's what I am allowed to do.
Well, before we get too political,
whoa!
Let's get on topic.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Anna.
And I'm Brian.
And we are
Those Annoying Vegans! And here we are back at the table for yet another mukbang. Today we are having oatmeal.
Oatmeal!
Not dissimilar from our super oatmeal recipe, but it is not the same.
We like to vary it up.
Yeah, this time we used steel-cut oats mixed with quick oats.
I actually prefer steel-cut oats because the texture, it's gritty.
Yeah, they're a little chewier, a little thicker.
Yeah.
There's mixed berries in here, so strawberries, blackberries, blueberries.
Mango,
a banana.
and
Oh yeah. Oh, a drizzle of agave.
A drizzle of agave. And we make this premix that's made up of ground flaxseed, chia seed, cinnamon,
and brown sugar.
And a tiddly little bit of brown sugar.
You just grind it all up.
We just sprinkle it on top and mix it up. And yeah, that way it's all in one place.
Omega-3s. Oh yeah.
So good, so good.
Just mix it all in there. It's a pretty standard breakfast for us.
I never get tired of oatmeal. Like, it's weird because I used to get tired of eating the same cereal over and over. Never get tired of oatmeal. No, maybe just because we vary it up.
You can do like cocoa powder with the peanut butter in there. And then you have like Reese's peanut butter cup oatmeal. It's amazing. Or you can do peaches. I love peaches with oats.
You can change the milk you use. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about.
Yes.
Vegetarianism. We have expressed on our Instagram specifically a couple of times how we do not support vegetarianism as an ethical lifestyle.
Yep.
And we are very, very adamant about that. And both times, or I think the 2 times that we posted about that, we got some negative reaction from, guess who? Vegetarians. And a couple of times from vegans who apparently support vegetarianism as an ethical lifestyle, which is very strange. And we will talk about that. And before you impulsively go right into the comments and go, well, what about backyard hens and backyard cows, if that's a thing, we're going to talk about that.
Now, we understand that vegetarianism may seem like an ethical lifestyle on the surface level because you're not eating animal flesh. And a lot of vegans go vegetarian first, including us. We both went vegetarian first before going vegan. Many vegans do that as like a stepping stone. But when we look a little deeper into the dairy and egg industries, they are not ethical industries. And vegetarianism is not an ethical lifestyle. Both the dairy and the egg industries are rife with killing, murder, torture, exploitation, all the same stuff that goes into raising animals for meat.
And worse, because not only is the animal killed at the end of their period of enslavement, but throughout their lives, they are enslaved and exploited for their reproductive systems, both females and males.
Though we would consider the dairy and egg industries to be worse than the meat industries, they're all bad. There's not one that's like good, like they're all unethical, and we're going to talk about that.
Let's start with dairy. And I know throughout our recipe videos in the past we've brought up dairy, but we've never sat down and spoken in depth about dairy, especially after attending vigils now for so long and learning everything we've learned at these vigils. So let's get one thing straight. A cow does not produce milk because she is a cow. She produces milk because she is a mother. So do sheep, so do goats. It's the same across the entire mammalian kingdom.
Mammals make milk for their babies.
Right. Period. And that includes us. Our milk is for our babies. So, in order for a female cow to get pregnant, she has to be inseminated with bull semen. Now, the way bull semen, let's start at the very beginning. Standard industry practice. The way bull semen is generally acquired is one, through masturbating the bull by providing the bull with a prosthetic cow vagina. Two, by forcing the bull onto the cow. Third, by this method called electroejaculation. A device is inserted into the bull's anus and an electric shock is sent through this device, which causes ejaculation. Then the bull semen is purchased by the dairy industry and the cows are forcefully inseminated. And the way this works is the industry itself calls this device a rape rack. And for anyone out there who claims that this procedure is not classified as rape, this isn't even our term, okay? It's a rape rack.
Dairy industry calls it that.
The cows are forced into this device that closes around their heads and their bodies and they can't move. And a fist is inserted into their anus to stimulate the uterus. And then a long tube is inserted and the semen is released.
And yeah, we've seen the trolley comments saying like, what, milking a cow is rape now? WTF. No, the milking part is not the rape part. The rape part is the rape part. It's the forceful insemination against her will part. Because if we did that to a human being, what would we call it? And then if you're saying, well, no, cows and humans are different. Okay, so what's the difference between a cow and a human that makes, in the human context, this would be rape, but in the cow context, it's not rape. It is the same act. So we're calling it by the same word. And just like human beings, cows have a 9-month gestation period. So they are re-impregnated every single year to keep them perpetually pregnant and always
Producing
milk. Now, when the baby calf is born, the calf is immediately taken away from the mother, usually on the calf's first day of life. And if the calf is a boy, he will be raised separately from the mother for a little while and given calf growth formula, which should be milk, by the way. That is cow growth formula. Milk is what the calf is supposed to be drinking.
It's cheap formula.
Yeah.
And check this out. Coincidentally, Land O'Lakes, for example, who sells dairy products, butter and whatnot, also makes baby calf growth formula. Could it be because it benefits their business?
Yeah, because we don't want the baby cow drinking the milk because we want to sell the milk to the humans. So we have to keep the baby cow away from the milk.
And depending on a particular state or country's laws, if veal is legal in that country or state, the calf will be eventually killed for his flesh. Or exported to a different country or state to be killed there for his flesh. If the calf is female, she will most likely go back into the dairy industry. However, it is not uncommon, if there is no use for the calf to be shot at birth and discarded.
If the calf is a female and if she does go back into the dairy industry, at about 1 year old, that's when cows reach sexual maturity, she will be impregnated and the cycle will begin all over again.
For the most part, breastfeeding is not easy. It's taxing on your body. And guess what? It's taxing on the cow's body as well. In the dairy industry, they are 4 to 5 years when they go down. That's what you call a downer in the industry. A downer is a cow whose body is so depleted that she can no longer get up. So they have to now get her off the property and straight to a slaughterhouse. The methods for even getting her up off the ground, there's dragging her with machinery, whether that's a forklift or a bulldozer. I've seen that with my own eyes, and here's an image of video of that. This will probably be one of the most impactful videos I show you guys. Look at this. They are hoisting a downed cow with a tractor right now before my very eyes. Oh my God. Oh my God. And when we hold vigil at the slaughterhouse, we always ask, how old are these cows? If they're dairy cows, even bulls. And they are always between 3 to 5 years of age, for the most part. 3 to 5 years of age.
Yeah, and most commonly what happens is the mother cow's milk production will slow after that many years to the point where they just get rid of them. And
They're not profitable.
They walk them onto a truck, and then the truck drives to a slaughterhouse, and they get slaughtered for their flesh just the same as the cows raised for meat get slaughtered for their flesh.
Yep.
It's just that they spend their lives giving birth to a child, having that child taken away, and having their milk stolen from them for their entire life.
And sometimes bulls who are used for their semen also get slaughtered for their flesh at the age of 3, 4, or 5. We've literally seen a pen full of bulls where we hold vigil whose semen is no longer viable, so they're getting slaughtered for their flesh. People tend to think, oh, cows live this long, happy life. No, it's very costly to maintain cows. They live for a very long time.
Cows also eat a lot of food, and they drink a lot of water, and they take up a lot of land. If they're, grass-fed cows, if they truly are free-range grass-fed cows, they need a lot of land. They eat a lot, they drink a lot, they produce a lot of waste. And these farms aren't in the business of not making money. So they're going to use the animal for as short of a period of time as they can financially, and then sell the animal to be slaughtered. Along the lines of impregnation, because the cows are impregnated every single year, because the industry doesn't know exactly when a cow is going to go down or when her milk production is going to slow, it is very, very common for dairy cows to be pregnant when they are slaughtered.
And we've seen this with our own eyes. In fact, the security guard who helps us at our vigils, he's very open about everything that happens there. He's shown us video from the inside. I mean, that's how transparent he is. And we've seen a video of the waste bin inside the facility with just calf fetuses everywhere. And in a different video, we saw just another bin full of placentas and a worker cutting open a placenta, extracting this calf from the placenta. You could see the calf's fur and everything. She was full-term calf. Eyes aren't even open. At the slaughterhouse where we hold vigil, this is also standard practice. These calves are usually used for fetal bovine serum. And fetal bovine serum is extracted from their still beating hearts. The heart has to be beating in order to extract the serum. And fetal bovine serum is used in medical research and labs and vaccines, etc. So these are animals who haven't even had the chance to open their eyes and are already being exploited. And that makes me very mad.
So we've probably left a few things out, but that, in a nutshell, is dairy. So let's move on to the egg industry, shall we? Now, in the egg industry, just like in the dairy industry, the females are very valuable, the males, not so much. So because male baby chickens will never ever lay an egg in their life, they are deemed useless by the egg industry because egg-laying chickens and chickens raised for meat, they're two separate breeds. They've been genetically bred for two separate purposes. And the male egg-laying chickens will not grow fast enough, or they won't get big enough or fat enough quickly enough for them to be profitable to be slaughtered for their meat. So on their first day of life, after they've just hatched from their egg, they are killed.
Ground up alive in a macerator or suffocated in plastic bags or gassed.
Very first day of life, little peeping baby chicks are set on this conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt goes straight into a macerator.
This is deemed humane by the industry.
It's absolutely horrific. And then the females that are born, they go through a life of laying an egg almost every single day, because we've bred these chickens to lay about 300 eggs a year, where in nature they would lay about 10 to 20 a year. Human women have a period like every month. That's basically what chickens in nature would be having. But this is like if you were to have a period every single day.
That doesn't sound good to me. And I don't know if you guys have watched a chicken lay an egg. It is like giving birth. It is taxing, it looks painful, it's difficult.
And everything comes out of one hole in a chicken, by the way. Chickens have one hole called a cloaca. So feces, urine, and eggs all come out through the exact same hole. And what an egg is it's the chicken's period. It's the menstruation of a chicken. It's an unfertilized egg. Humans release unfertilized eggs every month. Chickens do the same thing. And of course, after a few years of nonstop egg laying, the chicken's body is very depleted, it's very weakened, their bones are brittle because they lose a lot of calcium, they lose a lot of minerals through the egg laying process, and those minerals are not given back to them. So after a while, their bodies become frail, they become weak, and they get sent off to be slaughtered for their flesh, just the same as the chickens raised for meat. So it's the same thing as the dairy industry. These chickens are also killed for their flesh, but before that, they have a few years of exploitation.
And I know we've said that male chicks are useless to the industry for the most part, yes. Let's remember that some are kept for their semen, and female chickens are also forcefully inseminated against their will in order to maintain the population at these facilities. And we've learned, through holding vigil, some roosters are also killed for their flesh. In fact, 3 of the 4 chickens that we've rescued from this facility are roosters.
Those chickens raised for their meat are a different breed. Like we said, they've been genetically bred to grow really, really fast and get really, really fat in a short amount of time. And so male-female doesn't really matter in the chicken meat industry. But I think a lot of people do think that it's female hens that get killed. You don't really think of killing a full-grown rooster and eating him. Yeah. But you're killing a baby rooster. By the way, chickens, when they are slaughtered for their flesh, they're 40 days old.
Yeah.
So for those people out there who are against eating lamb and against eating veal because they wouldn't want to eat a baby animal,
they're all babies.
They're all babies.
Even the pigs, they're 6 months old. They're just bred to be huge. When we rescued Max, he could barely stand up for more than 5 seconds at a time. His body was too big for his little legs. They just grow at such a non-disproportionate rate. And thank goodness now he can run, he can jump because he's been kept on a low-calorie, species-appropriate diet. When they arrive at the slaughterhouse, they are suffering from respiratory failure. You can hear the gurgling. It sounds like plastic bags crinkling. That's the fluid in their lungs. They have broken wings, broken legs.
And many of them are dead on arrival. There's a shockingly high percentage of chickens that arrive dead on chicken trucks that we have not seen on pig and cow slaughter trucks.
Yeah, that if we saw on pig and cow slaughter trucks would be horrific to most people.
Yeah. And keep in mind, by the way, we know that Farmer John Slaughterhouse, where the LA Pig Vigil is held, those are factory farmed pigs. The chicken vigil and the cow vigil are both held at facilities that pride themselves on offering organic, free-range, GMO-free, grass-fed animals. This is supposed to be high welfare farming, and they all end up at the same slaughterhouse. And you guys have seen our Insta stories from the vigils. You can see the conditions that the animals are in.
Those are marketing terms, as we all know. Marketing terms to make everyone feel better and less guilty about the harm that they are contributing to and that we once contributed to.
Now, on the topic of high welfare farming, we do get a fair amount of pushback from a lot of people when we post about vegetarianism not being ethical. People say, what about backyard hens? What about a farmer who loves his cow and has a very small property?
Or the farms where I get my milk or my eggs.
Yeah, I don't purchase any of that garbage. I purchase really high quality, high welfare stuff.
My hens.
Yes.
My.
By the way. Me, I. Yes.
Yeah.
So in a fantasy world where someone has a backyard companion hen and they treat them well and they live out their full life and they die naturally and they only take eggs from the chicken when the chicken lays them and they only eat those eggs and they never eat at a restaurant and they never eat at a friend's house who buys factory farmed eggs and they never ever consume any other eggs than just the eggs from this one chicken in their one backyard. That would be different than factory farming? Different, not ethical. These situations are kind of silly to talk about because what we like to do is we like to talk about real world scenarios and what's really going on. That's not to say that hypotheticals aren't useful when discussing, philosophy and ethics and whatnot, but this just isn't the case. Over 90% of all meat, dairy, and eggs are factory farmed. And restaurants stock factory farmed eggs, and grocery stores stock factory farmed eggs, and a lot of people buy factory farmed eggs.
I mean, just in our town right here, no one has backyard hens.
People in LA, people in New York, people in Chicago, people in DC, I don't know, people that live in apartments in metropolitan areas. I mean, you can have a chicken in an apartment, and we've seen that people do rescue chickens and they wear diapers and they're super cute. But the truth is that for the vast majority of people, having a backyard hen is not really A, a reality for them, or B, not a lot of people want a backyard hen. But they still want to eat eggs.
Yeah. And for those people who are like, well, I have a backyard hen and I do everything you guys just said. Okay. We are trying to get away from viewing animals as commodities. Now, we treat our cats and our dogs and our pet rabbits like they're our best friends.
Like their family.
Yeah. But do we take anything from them? Do we shear them to make pillows? Do we collect their fallen whiskers to make, I don't know, hairbrushes? When you create a window, people are very likely to make a door.
We understand this when it comes to our standard companion animals like cats and dogs. When you adopt an animal, as we've said on our channel many times before, you adopt the animal just like when you adopt a child because you want to give this animal a good home and you want to provide for the animal and take care of the animal, not because the animal can give you something in return. You don't adopt a child because one day they're going to give you something back. You adopt a child because you love the child, you want to raise the child, you want to give the child a good home.
Right.
Not, I bet I can get something off this guy every month. We don't treat companions that way. And so we don't treat chickens and cows that way. We have to be consistent.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a speciesist mentality.
And in the case of chickens, you might be asking, well, what do you do with their eggs then? Easy. You feed them back to the chickens. Chickens actually eat their own eggs. And I don't know if you guys knew this. This is something that we've known now for a few years from volunteering at sanctuaries. And that's what sanctuaries do. They feed the chicken eggs back to the chickens. That's what they do at Kindred Spirits Care Farm, where we volunteer, is every day they gather all the eggs, they boil them up in a big pot of water, and they crush them up along with the shells. And they feed them back to the chickens because it replenishes their iron and their calcium. It's such a common behavior for chickens to eat their own eggs that there's even a WikiHow here that shows people how to prevent chickens from eating their own eggs. They actually look at it as an annoying behavior.
Certainly annoying to people that profit from selling eggs.
And another thing to consider is, where did those chickens come from in the first place? I mean, some people might rescue them or adopt them, but there are also mail order programs where they will ship chicks. The USPS actually allows the shipping of chicks in boxes. These chicks will most likely come from a hatchery where males have been killed on their first day of, it's all a chain, So who are you supporting?
It's the exact same reason why people are against dog breeding, right? Because we don't breed dogs into existence for the pure purpose of treating them like objects. And I mean, people, their heart is in the right place because they want to adopt a dog.
Yeah.
But when you forcefully impregnate a female dog so that she gives birth to a specific species of dog so that people can then adopt those dogs and take care of them like that, you're exploiting the animal, right?
Yeah.
And most people are against dog breeding. Most people say adopt, don't shop. Then the same thing should be applied to chickens. We're exploiting the animal in order to get a product from them. We're treating them like a commodity, and that's not vegan.
Not to mention, eggs are just not healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to talk about health. That's a whole other video. But check out this video if you would like to look more into that.
Now, as far as cows, well, first of all, I don't think there is such a thing as a backyard cow.
Haven't really heard that.
Haven't heard that. You'd need a lot of space for that. Your backyard would have to be quite big.
Maybe small farmers is what people usually say. Oh, the farmer down the street, or the farmer I go to, or the farmer at the farmer's market.
Yes, the farm. I buy my milk and dairy and butter from a mythical dairy farm that doesn't have any of these problems. Yeah. We get it. Again, as we said, the fact is that if we don't impregnate the cow in the first place, then she won't produce milk. So you don't have this issue of like, well, what am I supposed to do? The cow just keeps producing milk. Mammals only produce milk
for their
babies. So if you don't impregnate the cow in the first place, she won't make milk.
And when you're drinking milk, there is a calf who isn't. And let's not forget that wherever these small farmers are getting their cows from, where you're getting your ethical milk from, these cows are also coming from breeding situations. Mm-hmm. And
just like with chickens.
Yeah.
They're bred into existence to be exploited.
It's just weird. We're adults, and we don't need to be drinking milk past our weaning age, just like every other mammal on the planet, including apes and monkeys.
Our closest relatives don't drink milk.
And we are the only species who habitually drinks the milk of another species.
We're also the only species that dies of heart disease as the number one cause of death. Like, I don't think apes are keeling over, clutching their heart in middle age because they eat a lot of saturated fat and cholesterol, because they don't. Lions don't clutch their heart and die of a heart attack because they're eating a species inappropriate diet, because lions eat a species appropriate diet, unlike human beings. We don't. We eat stuff that kills us.
Yeah.
And it kills animals.
Oh, we're so
smart. It causes harm. Yeah, we're awesome.
We're so intelligent.
Yeah, we went to the moon though. That's good. Took a picture of a black hole. That was pretty sweet. It's baby cow milk. It's cow milk.
It's like, cow milk. It's just cow milk. That's the answer in a nutshell to all of this. It's cow milk for cows. Cows don't make milk for us as much as giraffes don't make milk for us, or elephants don't make milk for us, guys.
Yeah. Also, dairy is the number one source of saturated fat in the American diet. So dairy is also horribly unhealthy for you. It promotes
acne,
cancer growth, acne,
indigestion,
obesity, type 2 diabetes.
The list goes on. And again,
it's awful.
There are people who say, well, the farmer I go to keeps their calf with the mother.
Even dairy farmers, the most well-intentioned, the most caring dairy farmers on the planet, do admit that the calves are separated from the moms at some point. Maybe it's not on their first day of life. Maybe they let the calf drink the colostrum and the milk for a little while, but at a certain point, the baby cow has to be taken away from the mother because we want the milk to sell to humans. So the dairy industry is an industry of female and male exploitation, reproductive exploitation. It's an industry that separates mothers from children for a completely unnecessary purpose. There's no reason to eat dairy products whatsoever if you are a Homo sapien. Not to mention the vast, vast number of dairy alternative products that are on the market right now.
Shall we list them real fast? Let's play this game. Ready?
Well, are we doing just the milks or what?
Yeah, just the milks.
Okay.
Almond.
Soy.
Pistachio.
Cashew.
Walnut.
Flax.
Hemp.
Oat.
Rice.
Macadamia.
Coconut.
Pistachio? Did you say pistachio?
That's right, so
many. And that's just the milks. There's also vegan butter. It used to be called margarine, by the way. Now it's called vegan butter, which is good because the word vegan's getting out there. There's vegan yogurt. There's vegan ice cream. There's vegan coffee creamer. There's vegan cheese.
Yeah.
It's all there. If you would still like the dairy product flavor without the cruelty and the exploitation, you can buy the vegan alternative. Or, you know the old phrase, cheese is not oxygen. You can live without it. Maybe you don't need vegan cheese either. You can just live cheeseless if you want. You'll be okay. And the same goes for eggs. There are a ton of vegan egg replacements depending on what you're using the eggs for. If you're just looking for like a scrambled egg, there is a product called Vegan Egg and Just Egg made by Hampton Creek and Follow Your Heart. If you want to use eggs in baking, there are plenty of egg alternatives that are vegan, like mashing up a banana or making a flax egg or making a chia egg, applesauce. Eggs are horrific for your health. They're completely unnecessary. They have no purpose in the human body at all, other than to harm you, both spiritually and physically. And so at the end of the day, you don't need to eat dairy or eggs, which means you don't need to be a vegetarian.
Now the question is, knowing all this information, will you change? This shirt which we have available on our Etsy store. It says, because we can help, we must. Now let me take that one step further. Because we know better, we must do better. So when we learn all this information about dairy and eggs that we might have not known before,
Yes. is
that enough to take you to the next step and maybe, go vegan? If I had known this, but it's weird. I get it because I watched Earthlings. They talk about dairy and eggs in that video. They show footage, and I didn't ethically connect to it.
Well, it's not a direct line.
For a few years.
No.
And I look back at that and I go, why? How? How is that? How did I not? It's a systematic process of indoctrination that we have all been victims to. Now you're not a victim because now you know the information and we're telling you these industries are horrible. Do the research yourself. We are just a vehicle of information for you to expand your knowledge.
I believe it was Einstein who said those who have the privilege to know have the duty to act, which is very similar to Stan Lee, who wrote, with great power there must also come great responsibility. There's a little 15-year-old boy from Queens who learned this very lesson, that if you can do something to better the planet, then you have a duty to do it. The thing is, we did this, and now we have to get ourselves out of this. Like, human beings domesticated these animals, and now it is our job as a species to get us out of this ethical dilemma and into a more ethical lifestyle.
Now, we've also come across a whole lot of rhetoric saying that factory farming is a problem.
Yeah.
We need to go back to small farms and the way things used to be.
We need to return to the 1950s, man.
Well, that is just a fantastical idea. Wouldn't that be ideal? But the fact is, factory farming was our solution to our population problem. So,
that's something.
Unless everyone cuts down on their meat consumption drastically,
Drastically, by the way. Drastically.
That will never happen. This depends all on everybody. This is not just a magical thing that we're going to shut down factory farms because.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, people say we got to return to the heritage farming stuff. Well, like back in those days, you know what there was also way less of? People. There was way less people back then. And way less consumption of animal products.
Yeah.
But as people want to eat more and more and more animal products, so farmers tried to figure out a way to make it cheap so that people would buy it, because people aren't going to pay $100 a pound for red meat.
Yeah.
They want to pay $6 a pound at the grocery store. So, okay, then I guess we have to factory farm. Like, if we're going to feed this many people this much meat, dairy, and eggs, that's what we have to do. And factory farming actually outputs fewer carbon emissions than grass-fed beef, for example. Like, small-scale farms are more intensive than factory farms.
Contrary to popular belief.
I know people go, oh, those evil factory farms. They're processing tens of thousands of animals daily. That's an insane number, and they're doing it in the square footage of the factory farm. That's why we invented them in the first place. They've turned these animals into an object, into a commodity, and they've turned farming into the same thing as like a factory where you would, manufacture computers and televisions and other inanimate objects. And those are basically our thoughts on vegetarianism and why it's not ethical.
We stand firm on this too.
Yeah.
So sorry if that upsets some of you. These are the facts.
It's the reality.
It's the reality.
It's the reality of the industry. You can't exploit an animal and have it be ethical. It's the same thing vegans ask meat eaters at Cubes of Truth around the world, right? How do you humanely kill someone who does not want to die? Well, that should apply to the baby male chickens in the egg industry and the baby male cows in the dairy industry and the adult female cows and the adult female chickens in both industries too, because they both get killed too. So how do you humanely kill those animals when they don't want to die? If you take issue with what we've said, please let us know in the comments below.
Is that a West Virginia thing?
Issue? No, I was doing it like British, I guess. And if you like this video, please click the thumbs up button down below. That really helps us out. And if you don't like this video, please let us know in the comments below. Share your thoughts. We love to have discussions with people who we disagree with, because that's the only way we can progress and move forward. To share ideas and thoughts.
Feel free to share anything we post. I know we've gotten so many beautiful comments from you guys regarding, how we should have more subscribers. So please feel free to share the link to this video on your Facebook or Instagram or Insta story or whatever. We'd hugely appreciate it, and that helps our growth as well.
And if you haven't already, subscribe! And make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified every time we put out a new video.
That includes Instagram too. I realize there's like a notification bell on Instagram too. But
if you like to be notified.
If you like to be, if you definitely want our stuff on your feed, you can select that.
And follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and check out our Etsy store for some cool vegan swag.
This is one of them. Limited quantity available. It will be discontinued, most likely. And a massive, massive thank you to all our Patreon patrons. Anything we raise off of Patreon or YouTube literally goes straight to the animals. You guys helped us build that coop for Jose. We make regular donations to sanctuaries. We use it to buy supplies and equipment for the vigils if we need to. It all goes towards helping people go vegan, which in the long term will only help the animals and the planet and people. Bye!
Hi, Grace.
Baby May, would you like your own following? Do you want to be an Insta star?
It's on the right.
Brian just spilled his coffee. You have no idea. We've been having quite the time trying to set up today for some reason. Our camera's failing. I spilled water. You spilled coffee.
We're in the market probably for a new camera to do these mukbangs. So if you have any recommendations for good cameras that are great for YouTubing and vlogging, please let us know, because we are looking for a new camera. Hi, Aria. Aria, what are you bringing us? What is it?
Are you bringing me a gift?
That's Aria. And she likes to bring us things sometimes, but she announces her presence. Yes, Aria.
Thank you, baby.
Oh, what do you have? Oh.
You brought me a gift?
Thank you.
Thank you,